People come to my clinic, we often do some neuropsych testing, and one of the tests is negativity bias versus positivity bias. Negativity bias is you're focused on what's wrong. Your brain quickly, almost immediately goes to what you're afraid of, what's negative, and the news will tell you all sorts of things to be afraid of. Positivity bias is you go to what's right. And so those two techniques are part of what I talk about in the new book, positivity bias training. How do you train your brain to look for what's right, not for just what's wrong? I've been thinking about this Bible verse a lot lately. The beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord. And it used to always sort of bother me. Yeah. I'm like, why do I have to be afraid? Yeah. And then I realized people who have low levels of anxiety die early from accidents or preventable illnesses.
They're not worried about anything. They die earlier is what you're saying.
Right. And often the people that go to jail, they have low levels of anxiety. They actually have slower heart rates. They have lower sweat gland activity.
Interesting.
Right? Like if I think I'm going to go rob a store, well, I don't, because I don't want to be caught.
Right.
And I don't like institutional food, and I don't really look good in an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm always thinking ahead. And one of the lies of happiness, so I open You Happier with the lies of happiness, is don't worry, be happy. So Bobby McFerrin's Grammy Award-winning song, Don't Worry, Be Happy, is a lie. Because you need some anxiety so you do the right things.
Sure.
And doing the right things consistently help you be happy. 50% of people 85 and older will be diagnosed with dementia. I'm not okay with that. Those are bad odds, right? Because we're living longer, and I don't want a 50% chance of having lost my mind. Now, but I can't start thinking about that when I'm 83. I need to be thinking about that when I'm 43 or 33, right? I mean, the earlier you can, the more you can push off those negative effects. So not too much anxiety, because the cortisol damages your brain, but enough. It's like a dose response. What's the right dose of anxiety? Sure. And as a psychiatrist, I used to think my job was to lower the anxiety in my patients. And that's true for some patients. It's not true for other patients. I need to raise their anxiety. I published 3 studies, the last one on 33,000 people, that said as your weight goes up, the actual size and function of your brain goes down, virtually in a linear pattern, because it lowers blood flow to the brain. Obesity lowers blood flow to the brain. It ages the brain, it increases inflammation, fat cells store toxins, it changes your hormones, takes healthy testosterone and turns it into unhealthy, cancer-promoting forms of estrogen. This is not a good thing. And you don't want anything to damage your blood vessels. They found neurons, brain cells, actually don't age. It's your blood vessels that age.
Okay.
And if your blood vessels aren't feeding your brain cells, they begin to die. And so with all of these risk factors, how do I know if I have it? So SPECT, this imaging study I do, looks at blood flow. If you're drinking caffeine, if you're using nicotine, if you're sedentary, if you have any form of heart disease, if you have high blood pressure, all of those decrease blood flow to your brain. I'm actually not a fan of positive thinking. I'm a fan of accurate thinking with a positive bias. Because positive thinking is I can have this third brownie and it won't hurt me. I can drive at 125 miles an hour down the freeway in the rain and it's not dangerous. The front part of your brain not only thinks of the moment, it thinks of all of the moments, right? If I do this, what happens? And too often, people that have the most sadness, it's because they made bad decisions. That can be toxic positivity. Like, oh, I'm in the moment, where I want people to be in all of the moments.
Sure.
not just now.
The future moments.
Now and later. And so it's interesting to think about what you do based on the chemistry of happiness. And so, yes, there's dopamine, but unfortunately, dopamine's a trap. It's the molecule of more. I need more sex, more money, more praise, more followers.